Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya and this is Maya Imani Reads. I'm really excited to be filming today's video because this is a book haul, but it's featuring books by all Black authors. I have 7 books to show you guys, and so we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. The first book that I have is Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. Jasmine Ward is one of my favorite authors. This is probably like the 4th book by her that I've read. Love Jasmine Ward. I was introduced to her in college. We had to read her memoir, Men We Reaped, and I just loved the writing style. I also had to write a paper on that memoir, and my professor gave me like an A+ and said that it was such a greatly written essay. And so I don't know, yeah, that stuck with me. And so I really like me some Jasmine Ward. I have read her most recent book, which was this one. This is her most recent, Let Us Descend. Y'all, I didn't really like this book. I think of all the Jasmine Ward books I've read so far, this would be my least favorite. I believe I gave this like 3 stars, but nonetheless, I'm excited to read Sing Unburied Sing, and I'll read a little bit of the synopsis. Part ghost story, part road novel, this historic National Book Award winner is a dazzling journey through Mississippi's past and present in an epic tale of hope and survival. Following a family making the trip from their Gulf Coast town to the Mississippi State Penitentiary, State Penitentiary. Sing Unburied Sing tests the strength of emotional bonds and the pull of our collective history. In a haunted landscape for a family feeling from loss, the trip is fraught with danger. This gorgeous novel, animated by Ward's lush and vibrant language, is rich with connection, meaning, and healing. So yeah, really excited to get into this. I also love the book cover. I think that's so pretty. One of my reading goals for 2026 is to read at least 2 Black classics, and this next one is just that. Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. I've heard so much about this book, of course, and like I said, I want to read more Black classics, and this has actually been on my TBR for a while now, so I decided to go ahead and pick it up. I think it's so funny because if I remember correctly, when I was reading the synopsis on Amazon, the book is sort of about the future, and the future was like 2024, and I just think that's so funny because it's 2026, so it's like we're living in the future now. I didn't realize that this book was as thick as it is. I mean, it doesn't look that thick on video, but I feel like in person I'm like, oh, this is a little thicker than I was expecting. I mean, it's definitely thicker than Sing Unburied Sing. Like, this is them Sing Unburied Sing and then Parable of the Sower, so like for sure, yeah, for sure it's a little thicker. A little bit of the synopsis. When global climate change and economic crisis lead to social chaos in the early 2020s, California becomes full of dangers, from pervasive water shortage to masses of vagabonds who will do anything to live to see another day. 15-year-old Lauren lives inside a gated community with her preacher father, family, and neighbors, sheltered from the surrounding anarchy. In a society where any vulnerability is a risk, she suffers from hyper-empathy, a debilitating sensitivity to others' emotions. Interesting. I have a deep love for like dystopian type books, and so I think that I'm gonna love this. It kind of reminds me of the movie The Book of Eli, which was a dystopian type movie, Denzel Washington. So I don't know why I'm kind of getting those types of vibes from this. Moving right along, next we have The Davenports by Crystal Marquis. I am such a lover of historical fiction, and I've heard that this is a great mix of historical fiction and escapism, and I've been reading a lot of heavy books recently. Like, I finished The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead not too long ago, and I'm currently reading the next book that I'll show you in this haul. I already started reading it, but they're both pretty heavy books. The Underground Railroad is, you know, talking about slavery and whatnot. I have a reading vlog featuring that book up on my channel, so definitely check it out if you haven't done so. With that being said, I need something light, I need something fun, and so I'm so excited to read about rich Black people, and they're just, all they care about is like marriage and love. I'm also excited to read this because since I started back reading as an adult, I have not gotten into any series. Elementary school to high school, I used to love reading series, so hopefully I like this book and I'll get into the series.
You got your water bottle near you?
Yeah, I actually need to.
Yeah. Please, honey. Please. If you was gonna pick up another book, I was gonna cut you off and say, time out.
The The Davenports are one of the few black families of immense wealth and status in a changing United States, owing to William Davenport, a formerly enslaved man who founded the Davenport Carriage Company years ago. Now it's 1910 and the Davenports live surrounded by servants, crystal chandeliers, and endless parties, finding their way and finding love even when they're not supposed to. There's Olivia, the beautiful elder Davenport daughter, ready to do her duty by getting married, until she meets the charismatic civil rights leader Washington Dwight and sparks fly. The youngest daughter, Helen, is more interested in fixing cars than falling in love, unless it's with her sister's suitor. What?
Sounds like she's trying to fall in love with her sister dude.
Right, that's what I'm like, what? This sounds like such a good book. I'm not even really big on romance, but maybe it's the fact that it's about black people back in the 1900s. I love that. This sounds so good. I also really like the cover of this one, and it says they have wealth and reputation. Now's their chance to find love. And on the side over here, it says fortune favors the bold. So I think this is gonna be a good one. Next, I have Anywhere You Run by Wanda M. Morrison. Editing Maya popping in here really quick to say, I don't know why I was calling her Wanda M. Morrison. Her name is Wanda M. Morris, and I literally know that. So I don't know why I was saying that, but this is the second book by Wanda M. Morrison that I'll be reading. I read All Her Little Secrets by her and really enjoyed that. I want to say I gave it a 4-star. That was like a mystery thriller, and this is also like a mystery thriller, but it's also historical fiction. And I'm learning about myself that I think that I really enjoy mystery thriller books as well. So to have mystery thriller and historical fiction all in one, that just sounds like me. This is the book that I've actually already started reading because this one came in a couple days before the other books did. So I'm about 90 pages into this one, and I'll go ahead and say that so far I'm really enjoying it. It's the summer of 1964, and 3 innocent men are brutally murdered for trying to help black Mississippians secure the right to vote. Against this backdrop, 21-year-old Violet Richards finds herself in more trouble than she's ever been in her life. Suffering a brutal attack of her own, she kills the man responsible. But with the color of Violet's skin, there's no way she can escape Jim Crow justice in Jackson, Mississippi. Before anyone can find the body or finger her as the killer, she decides to run. With the help of her white beau, Violet escapes, but desperation and fear lead her to hide out in the small rural town of Chillicothe, Georgia, unaware that danger may be closer than she thinks. Back in Jackson, Marigold, Violet's older sister, has dreams of attending law school. Working for the Mississippi Summer Project, she's been trying to use her smarts to further the case of the black vote. But Marigold is in a different kind of trouble. She's pregnant and unmarried. After news of her sister's involvement in a murder brings the police to her door, Marigold sees no choice but to flee Jackson too. She heads north, seeking the promise of a better life and no more segregation. But has she made a terrible choice that will threaten her life and that of her unborn child? Oh my gosh, I kind of can't believe I just read that because I like to go into books a little blind. I like to have a general idea of what they're about. So I didn't know that Marigold was going up north. I mean, I kind of suspected that, but like, dang, I didn't know that. So it feels like a spoiler for myself, but whatever, it's on the back of the book. But we got 3 books left, y'all. So the next one is The Queen of Sugar Hill by Rashonda Tate. Now, y'all, I don't know why this book looked the way it looked. It's obviously been loved on because, like I said, I just bought this. So I literally have no clue why it looks like that. And I did buy all these from Amazon, and you can buy used books on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure I bought this new. Or at least I thought I bought it new. But either way, I don't mind it at all. I just was a little confused when I opened it and I was like, this ain't new. This book was actually recommended to me by my mother-in-law. She just finished reading it last week and said that she thought I would enjoy it. Before my mother-in-law told me about this book, it's funny because I was looking at some 2026 releases that are coming out, and Rashonda Tate has a book coming out in January of this year. I want to say it's called With Love from Harlem, and that book really caught my eye and I added it to my TBR. And then my mother-in-law told me about this book and I was like, oh, I have another book by this author on my watch list. Before I get that one, I said, let's go ahead and read this one. The synopsis says, it was supposed to be the highlight of her career, the pinnacle for which she worked all her life. And as Hattie McDaniel took the stage in 1940 to claim an honor that would make her the first African-American woman to win an Academy Award, she tearfully took her place in history. This historic night was going to be life-changing, or so she thought. Months after her win, the Oscar curse set in. Hattie couldn't find work. She was thrust between two worlds, black and white, but she wasn't welcomed by either. Whites saw her only as Mammy, and blacks detested the demeaning portrayal. As the NAACP waged an all-out war against Hattie and others like her, the emotionally conflicted actor found herself struggling daily. I honestly don't know too much about Hattie McDaniel. I do know that she was in, what was that? Gone with the Wind, and like the book said, she played Mammy, and so I can't imagine that black folks were not happy with her for that. So I'll be interested to read more in this book, and I feel like I'll probably do a deep dive myself and actually look into her real life and what actually happened. Keeping the train going a little bit with the black classics. I got another one. Wait, is this a black classic? This may not be a black classic. But it's the love songs of W.E.B. Du Bois by Honorée Fanny Jeffers. Apologies if I pronounced her name wrong. Of course, this is a book that I've heard so much about. I've seen on so many people's TBRs, seen on so many hauls, so many reading wrap-ups, and every video that I see is nothing but good praise for this book. It's also been on my TBR for a while now, and so I said in 2026 we're gonna tackle this bad boy, because look how thick this thing is, y'all. Do you see that? This is huge. This book is still going. 790 pages. I'm pretty positive never in my life have I read a book this big, so it's a little daunting. But like I said, in 2026, I believe I'm going to be able to take it on and to tackle it. And I'm excited to do so. I will be so honest and say, when I first started hearing about this book, I thought it was a memoir or autobiography by W.E.B. Du Bois himself. It is not. So I'm interested to see why it's called The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. I will read the back. It says, the great scholar W.E.B. Du Bois once wrote about the problem of race in America and what he called double consciousness, a sensitivity that every African American possesses to survive. Since childhood, Eiley Pearl Garfield has understood Du Bois's words all too well, bearing the names of two formidable black Americans, the revered choreographer Alvin Eiley, okay, got it, that's how you pronounce her name, and her great-grandmother Pearl, the descendant of enslaved Africans and tenant farmers. Eiley carries Du Bois's problems on her shoulders. Eiley is reared in the North, but spends summers in the small Georgia town of Chickasetta, where her mother's family has lived since their ancestors arrived from Africa in bondage. Since she was a child, Eiley has fought a battle for belonging that is made even more difficult by a hovering trauma and the whispers of women. Her mother, Belle, her sister Lydia, and a maternal line reaching back 2 centuries who urged Eiley to succeed in their stead. This kind of follows multiple generations. Like I said, it goes back to centuries. Homegoing by Yagi Yazi is another book that kind of follows generations and different people in the generations. Love that book, gave it 5 stars. So I think that for that reason and others, I'll really enjoy this one as well. Bringing in the rear, we have our last book. Another one of my goals for this year is to read memoirs, read some memoirs. I think I said I want to read a memoir. Wait, no. The actual goal was to read at least one nonfiction book every quarter. And so in my 2026 reading goals video, I mentioned that I'll probably get some memoirs in. And that's exactly what this one is. Bottom of the Pyramid by Miss Nia. Literally I was in middle school when Dance Moms was on. I loved it. It was one of my favorite shows. So when I saw that Nia was releasing a memoir and when I saw the title, I was so excited for her. She ate with the title. If you know, you know. Bottom of the Pyramid, a memoir for persevering, dancing for myself, and starring in my own life. I don't really know what this one is about for real. I'm obviously assuming that it has a lot to do with Dance Moms. I don't want to read the synopsis for this. I just want to get into it, but I will put the synopsis on the screen for you guys to read if you're interested. I was also really excited when I saw that Nia was putting this out because I feel like on Dance Moms, Nia really didn't have a voice like that. She was bottom of the pyramid, literally, like just kind of seemed like she was really forgotten about. I believe Nia was a talented dancer, but I don't know if Abby saw Nia's value or saw her talent. So I'm so glad that she was able to have a voice and to put this out there into the world. I think I saw a clip that one of the Dance Moms, I can't remember her name. Well, I think Kelly and the other one, literally I cannot remember her name, they were a little upset about some of the things that she said or like put in this. But this is Nia's story, and I think that like you can't take that from her. And like I said, I'm really excited that she took the time to say what it was that she had to say. Those are all the books that we have in today's haul. Let me know if you've read any of these and what your thoughts were. Thanks y'all so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.